Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Teledyne ISCO's December webinar focused on how to effectively manage your collection system network. Today's webinar is being led by Greg Hazen, Teledyne ISCO's product support specialist. It is also being recorded, so this webinar will be shared with registrants and attendees after the webinar completes later on today. At this time, I am going to turn it over to Greg.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending today's webinar. We're going to be going over how to effectively manage your collection system network with remote sensors and data. That's a pretty broad topic there, I know. There's a lot of different challenges and solutions out there in the world for this type of activity. So we're going to go over some of the challenges that most operators or networks of collection systems may run into, and provide some solutions that maybe will help you look for what you're looking to fulfill those to complete those challenges. Most collection systems at one point in time were pretty much only concerned with the inflow and outflow from the wastewater treatment plants. Now, as time has gone past, they have now more concerned with what's happening at different locations within their network and monitoring that and reacting to changes or problems that might be occurring in those network systems ahead of time to get ahead of any problems that may occur for the wastewater treatment plants down the flow as time goes on, trying to react to those events that are occurring, say rainfall or other flooding events that might cause more problems into the network. So the first thing one of the challenges that most operators would run across is what type of equipment to put at individual sites within their network. Whether you need to look at getting the flow information, the actual flow measurements that are occurring at points of that system, whether it be just before the wastewater treatment plant, coming out of specific industries, certain areas, watersheds that you would be looking at to try and determine what kind of flows to plan ahead or to revitalize the system by putting in larger pipes, things like that. So flow meters would be working well in those kind of situations to record the flow so that planners can determine if larger pipes are needed or if an area is being developed to determine what kind of flows might be coming out of those type of industries to help plan for that. Now, flow meters involve typically a little bit more installation, where they're putting sensors or flumes or weirs, area velocity sensors in pipes, things like that to help determine the flow. So a little more involved with either construction or larger portions of metering equipment to be put in to get that information for the planners. Now, loggers with telemetry and alarming for specific conditions are more useful when looking for events or when overflows or things like that occur to help either plan for it, to get ahead of a possible surcharge situation, or to just determine if gates or other pieces of equipment within the network system need to be closed to help divert water away to specific other locations such as storage facilities or other wastewater treatment plants that could handle the large influx of wastewater at that time. Sensors could also be determined to just sensors to be dropped into place, such as pH, turbidity, DO for monitoring specific events or parameters at sites that are troublesome or other problems that, such as industries worried about dumping of high pH or low pH at specific times, but being able to monitor for that and yet let the operators know that there is a problem at that location before it gets further into the system. Another challenge with networks of the stormwater or wastewater networks is how many monitors do we need to install? Now, like I said before, a long time ago, most people were more concerned with what was going in and out of wastewater treatment plants. And then it became more necessary to know what was happening in other parts of the network, whether it's specific industries, specific watersheds, worrying about I&I and inflow and infiltration from rainwater, those kind of things that have occurred over time, determining if we've got broken pipes in the system, helping to isolate that down. Now, how many locations are necessary? It also depends on how large the municipality or township or village or whatever you're working with is, determining what works best for that location. Maybe they have to set up primary sites like on main trunk lines or things like that to determine if there is a problem or amount of capacity of the network is being overrun by a specific amount of water coming in from either an industry batch discharging or from I&I from a stormwater event. Now they could use those in those areas to determine those problems, and then use secondary sites for less problematic areas, maybe working their way up a trunk line to determine if we are dealing with I&I, they can hopefully isolate using our equipment to find those locations and then repair them over time. Now, as for real-time data and alarming, is that something that is required by the collection system operators? Do they need to know if there is a problem developing or is already occurring? Is that something that they need to monitor, or real-time data? Do they need to have information displayed either on a web page or in some sort of other capacity where they can monitor the data at all times, or just alarms like a text message or email, enough to help the operators manage the network sufficiently? So are the alarms needed for specific events or parameters, such as, say, a large pH increase in an area or a large increase in level in an area, to help the operators get ahead of a possible surcharge of a manhole to prevent the possibility of consent decrees or other sort of problems being inflicted on the municipality due to surcharges and overflows and spillage? Is a SCADA interface necessary to interface with the devices and the SCADA network to help close down gates, divert flow, put it into storage for working with or sending back into the wastewater treatment plant when there is not an event occurring that is overrunning the wastewater treatment plant? Now, again, these are all challenges that the wastewater operators and collection networks are always concerned about, and it's necessary to answer these questions to help determine what best equipment the operators need to manage their network. Another one of the challenges is maintenance. If you have 5 or 6 sites, it may not be difficult to get out there and do preventative maintenance, change out batteries, clean sensors, perform programming or updating. But if you have a very large municipality with 200, 300 meters or sensors or telemetry devices that you're having to visit more frequently, having a longer battery life or sensors that are non-contact or are able to just not require regular cleaning or programming the meters to make changes at all times can be very beneficial for those municipalities or companies or whatever are working with the equipment, so that they can spend more time working with the data, working with other parts of their network to help maintain those versus maintaining the equipment that is monitoring the network. So all those are necessary challenges, and looking for solutions is not the same for all the municipalities or companies or anything like that. There's going to be differences in based off your geography and just your overall, your network itself, whether you have combined sewers or separate sewers and storm sewers. Those are some of the different challenges that customers bring. Now, as for the unwanted result, if we are unable to get ahead of monitoring these challenges, such as determining if we're going to be overrunning the capacity of the network, or not able to find I&I that also overflows the network, we end up with overflows, spillage, fines, things like that for municipalities that everyone tries to avoid. So just looking out for what kind of different devices or other equipment can help overcome those challenges with new solutions is something we can look for. Now, as for solutions, something that most companies or cities would be looking for is something that would be a compact, durable logger with telemetry, meaning it has access to push data to some location or send messages or send data to some location so that the operators are able to monitor and react to that data. Some sort of cloud-based data storage with website, it would also be something that would be necessary. The text and email alarms based off of conditions or events to help the operators respond quickly to developing problems or problems that already exist. Interfacing with a large variety of sensors, meaning pH, DO, maybe some submersible pressure sensors or ultrasonic sensors, contact closures with water switches, things like that, that the customers can choose a variety of different equipment to work with their network altogether. Having a long battery life, that way you would be able to have no or limited amount of maintenance required to visit the sites, allowing remote programming so you can also work within the office instead of visiting sites to program a meter, make changes, is very beneficial to many customers out there. Quick installation as well, being able to drop it in and get it up and running quickly helps eliminate having to close down a road, have a police presence to help get into those locations to protect the workers, less exposure by the workers to traffic. Very good to keep the workers safe and get an installation quickly. One of the solutions Teledyne ISCO has is the AccuLink. We'll go over some of the information with that, see where that helps us out with those challenges to help the operators work through those problems and come up with their own solutions as well. Now, as I've just got some information here on the enclosure, it's very durable, rated to be IP68, small device, able to be mounted, very lightweight. Possibility of connecting up multiple serial interface sensors, up to 10 sensors. We can bring in Modbus 485, Modbus 232, SDI 12, 15 different parameters can be brought in. Also can bring in analog devices, so if you have a mag meter or some other device or analog pressure sensors, things like that, they could bring in as an active or passive sensor. Multiple discrete inputs, meaning we could monitor for contact closures or other devices. So water touches a contact closure to trigger an alarm that the water has reached a certain level in the pipe or in the vault. Built-in GPS, meaning once you've installed it, you would know the sensor would show the location of the meter or the logger. The data is encrypted from the field. We can do event-based or time-based pushing of the data transmission. One of the big features of the AccuLink is the ability to use what's called a global SIM card. It automatically switches between the best service available, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, depending on 3G, LTE, or even 2G if necessary. But it automatically switches and finds the best service. So in one location, if say a tower was to go down, it would automatically switch down to the other units or the other providers if necessary. Internal, external antennas. With being installed in manholes most of the time, these devices we would recommend installation of an external antenna just to get your best possible signal out of the manhole. Magnetic mount in-street or blade antennas available as well. As long as also we have optional remote communications such as LoRa, Sigfox, and LPWAN just additional antennas are required for those. But that's another option for networks that have already been developed within, say, municipalities. That would give you another option instead of the cellular technology. The data is hosted directly on a cloud server and accessed via the home.isco-acculink.com. We have interactive web UI, so you can view your data, view information about the logger as it's stored out there, transmitting from the field. Up to 4 alarms per data type, so multiple alarms, SMS, email are available to give you those indications of when some sort of event has occurred or something like that. Able to upgrade the firmware remotely via the website, just automatically upgrade. Also have the ability to export data out as CSV or to FlowLink Pro if necessary. The ability to do that is a lot of customers already have FlowLink Pro servers, so the ability to bring in data from the AcQLink into their own FlowLink servers is very beneficial to them. Optional as well is OPC UA, DP3, and CSV with SCADA interface. So those are possibilities for getting that information directly into your SCADA network. As for the battery life, approximately, depending on the sensors that are being powered, approximately 4 years with 5 parameters, twice a day transmission. Then as you would have events, you would program the events to push out more often if it was necessary for you to have that data. Possibility to connect up to solar power or just have power brought in from an outlet if possible with DC power. So those are some options for limiting the amount of times to visit out of site if you were to put a solar panel. That would be one less thing to go out and change batteries over a certain period of time to help the customer keep the limited amount of maintenance visits to a site to a minimum. Now, as for the real-time data and alarms, you're able to program and view via the web interface. So once you log into the web page, you're able to see the sites that are under your tree of information. So you have multiple sites, you're able to look at each one of them, view the data, and also to program the module. Every time the unit pushes in from the field to push the data in, it would grab any configuration changes and pull them down into the logger and make the changes. So if you change some sort of threshold for an alarm, you could make those changes, or adding new users for text messages, things like that. That would work as well. Firmware, again, is updated automatically over the air. So every time a new firmware upgrade comes out for the AcQLink, it is pushed automatically from the server to the meters when they push in. Data can be exported from the website via CSV. So if you wanted to pull the data down and work with it, say in Excel or some other sort of spreadsheet program, the data can be exported. All multiple different parameters can be exported via the CSV. Setting up multiple thresholds, this is where the alarming comes in. So if a customer needed to know when level reached above a certain number of inches or feet in a vault, and they wanted to receive a text message to kind of warn them that, hey, our water level is rising up above a certain amount, you may want to have somebody look upstream or downstream. Maybe we've got a blockage in the collection system that's backing up this certain area. You can also set higher alarms for when an actual event might be occurring, so you can send out more of an emergency message. So it's a way to keep your operators knowledgeable about what is happening at what point in time. Be able to create different users and groups to control who views specific data. So if you have field crews that you would only want to view specific data points or things like that on the website, you're able to do that, or analysts or engineers that would maybe want to view more information or be able to access the control of the device. They're able to do that with the AcQLink on the website as well. Now, as for installation, we were talking about quicker installation. I'm just going to go over one of the installations here, which with the 810 ultrasonic sensor. It's just a ultrasonic sensor, the serial ultrasonic sensor that connects up to the AccuLink. You would attach the ISCO 810 ultrasonic sensor to the wall with the mounting hardware, wherever your location is, above the water that you're trying to monitor for a specific level. Make sure it's correctly positioned and level to the floor channel, and measure the distance. If you want to know a specific level, you'd want to measure the distance to the bottom of the empty channel. Attach this antenna and sensors to the AccuLink. Uses a magnetic activator, so you just swipe this magnetic activator on the ISCO logo. It will then start pushing the data to our server. So then you're able to log in and watch the information flow in for about 10 minutes under this test mode. Data should appear within that time, and you're able to verify that it is pushing in. Once you're able to verify that it's the GPS and data is now transmitting properly, you'd mount the module to the side of the wall, near the top of the manhole, secure the antenna, place the antenna where we could get a good push out of the manhole. Now, this is just a little more overview, kind of more of a summary of the device. Just various sensors inputs. If it speaks RS-232, RS-45, or SDI-12, most of those devices are contact closures, analog inputs, be able to bring those into this device and send it up and monitor it from the ISCO-accUlink website. The communication, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, it automatically will switch between which has the best service in that area. We have the global SIM, and the data plan is included in a subscription plan to the website and to the data plan. It's all one cost per year. Internal and or external antenna. The data hosting, again, is on the website. Email notifications come from the server, and also the text messages, SMSs as well. Approximately 4 years based off of which sensors you're using in the transmission and recording interval. So we'll look through some questions that you may have been submitting.
Yes, we have. If you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A function within the Zoom platform. We do have one question that has come in so far. That question is, in high flow level situations, is the AccuLink water resistant?
It is IP68 rated. I believe on the one screen, it's up to 6.6 feet in submergence for approximately 8 hours. So that rate's based off the IP68. Got another question here, just a little review on that. It says, is there a subscription for data and the website? Yes, it's a yearly subscription for the data plan and the website. So you would have yearly have access to that data on the website and also the data plan to push the data into the network. Can I connect this? Got another one here. Can I connect this to other flow meters or sensors? Yes, like I said, the sensors that can be brought into it are RS-232, RS-45, SDI-12, those kind of sensors, analog or even contact closures. If it speaks that information, we can bring that into the AccuLink, such as signature meters, 2100s. Those devices are able to send data into the AccuLink to be pushed to the cloud.
Okay. Another question that's come in here. I'm not sure if this was relating to a different question, but it says, what about low or very flow situations?
So the AccuLink doesn't directly read flow. It's more of a logger and telemetry device. So as for level sensors, if you were to use, say, an ultrasonic sensor, I believe the ultrasonic sensor, you would just, whatever the data the ultrasonic sensor is giving, we'd be able to see that as a threshold to set low level. So say you did set it as a low level, we can set low level thresholds if that's what you mean. But as for just whatever the devices are sending out, maybe it's a low flow from a mag meter or from some other sort of flow meter that's an analog output, we'd be able to monitor that and send that as an alert, SMS, text message. It doesn't have to just be a high level or emergency high level.
Another question that has come in here through the Q&A function is, will other SIM cards be recognized by the device other than what you have already mentioned?
On the devices, if you have a SIM card for, say, like T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, that is a account for your municipality, things like that, you maybe have a private network, that would be as well. You could actually use that as well if you wanted to. It's not locked into using the global SIM that is installed in there. Just that is easier for a lot of customers where they wouldn't have to worry about setting up their own service. But it is available if you needed to use your own SIM cards, that you have your own service plan already set up, you'd be able to use that.
Another question here that has come in, is the unit and sensors intrinsically safe or explosion proof?
At this time, there is not an intrinsic safe rating on this equipment. I know that is in process. But at this point, it has not been rated intrinsically safe or hazardous location at this time.
One other question that has come in is, and I don't know if we want to encourage them to reach out to their reps, but what is the cost of the subscription?
Off the top of my head, I don't have the exact number, but I would recommend reaching out to your reps or just contacting them to get some more information on pricing. They would be a better supplier of that information than I would here.
Oh, a few more questions here. Is this system offered in Canada?
I believe it is offered there, but I would contact our distributor in Canada, is Avensis. So I would contact them and they might be able to give you a better, more complete answer on that.
What data will log and sorry, I'm trying to make sure I understand this question correctly. What data will log and transfer this device from signature or 2150 real-time values, or all archived in internal memory of device?
Okay, so as the 2100 or signature device is taking readings, it is also transmitting them out of the unit via Modbus 232 in the case of the 2100, Modbus 45 in the case of the signature. Every time a reading is taken and it transmits that Modbus reading to the AcQlink, it is stored in the AcQlink and then pushed in at the interval you have now set. So you push in every hour or every 4 hours, every 12 hours. The data that is pushed in at that time to the website is all the data that occurred since the last push.
Great. And I wanted to let you guys all know that we did get confirmation that this is a product that is available in Canada. So Avensis Solutions would be the rep for this product in that area.
Thank you for replying back on that.
Another question we just received is installation done by ISCO or could it be done by anyone?
Installation on this could be done by anybody. Like I showed you, you mount the sensors, or maybe you already have a sensor in place. You would hook the devices up. Contacting ISCO is pretty much just to start the service, maybe to help program it. That is done, we would be able to help out along those lines. But as for actual installation, physically installing it in the locations, that can be done by anybody.
Okay. We'll give it just a minute or two for any other questions that are coming down the line. Greg, if you have anything else you want to chat about.
I don't have anything at this time, but if you need more contact information, please contact the reps in your area. I'm sure they'd be able to give you some more information, or reach back to us here at Teledyne ISCO to be able to provide more information, answer questions. We'd be happy to do that as well.
And I wanted to let you know at this time, oh, here's another question that has come in here. Is it possible to use local SIM cards with this? I'm
not quite sure what the local SIM cards is, but the SIM cards that are installed in there are just standard SIM cards for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. What the SIM card, if you're just discussing the difference between global and local, yes, the local SIM cards would be like the ones you'd go pick up for your AT&T in your area. Yes, those would work as well. That would be your service. So you cannot contact AT&T, T-Mobile to get the SIM cards to install in the AccuLink to do that. Whereas the global SIM card just is just a term to just mean that we can use it pretty much anywhere.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, I just wanted to take a moment to remind everybody that this webinar is being recorded. So this will be shared with all registrants and attendees after the webinar. Also, I wanted to take a brief moment to let everybody know what we have coming up. We will continue to have monthly webinars throughout 2019. In January, our topic will be a little bit different. We are going to have an Ask ISCO session. So this is going to be a webinar where we will bring in a panel of experts, and our focus for the January webinar will be on portable samplers. So you will receive more registration information on that upcoming webinar later on this month. And during that registration process, we encourage everyone to submit questions they might have about portable samplers, and we will have more of a roundtable discussing any questions and kind of working through what portable samplers have to offer. So at this time, I want to take a moment to thank Greg for working through this webinar and presenting all this valuable information to us. And I wanted to thank you all for joining us this morning. Again, be on the lookout for the recording that will be shared later on today or tomorrow. And if you have any questions or comments further on, feel free to contact us through contact Greg through his email, or you can contact us directly and we'll send it on to Greg at iscoinfo@teledyne.com. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.